Jazzcast Pros.
Welcome to Fearless Fridays with Raeanne, the podcast where real talk meets real transformation. I am your host, Dr. Raeanne Rivera-Dannert, and with over 10 years as a life coach, author, speaker, and trainer, I will be guiding you on this journey of healing, growth, and empowerment. Each week, we dive into raw, authentic conversations about life's challenges, victories, and everything in between. Together, we'll hear your inner child, build unshakable confidence, and unlock the fearless you that's been waiting to shine. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's take the next step towards the life that you deserve. This is your safe space, your community, and your call to be limitless, because it's time to be free, fearless, and fabulous. Today we have an amazing woman with us who is local to the Rochester area. She is an author, mother, and I will let her tell you the rest.
Well, thank you for having me, Marianne. It's wonderful to be here today. My name is Raeanne Lacatena. I am a holistic business coach, as you said, right here locally in Rochester, New York. I started my career as a mental health therapist. I'm also a Reiki master and a certified professional coach who's now been in personal development for 20 years. I serve businesses, yes, locally here in Rochester, but also all over the country and internationally. And I absolutely love my work. It is one of the greatest joys in my life, next to those adorable kiddos that you referenced that are the true joys of my world. And they are why I do everything I do as well. I believe that entrepreneurs in the world are the creators, the game changers, the rule breakers, the difference makers. And so I found myself working with these creative people in an effort to help them fulfill their mission and service to the world evolving.
I love that. We know that you are an author, but before we get into that, because we are focusing on Women's History Month, tell us about a woman in history who has inspired you and why.
Oh, yes. We have to celebrate Women's History Month. It's very important, especially right now in the world that we're in. I find myself constantly inspired and drawn to Oprah in particular. I know that she's not in the way back history, but everything that she does just really magnetizes me for so many different reasons. She's a woman of service. She's as I said, like a game changer. She's a rule breaker. She's a difference maker. She really emulates a lot of the qualities that I aspire to emulate as well. And it really is focused around highlighting those who have high consciousness, who are women and men of service, and who are doing things to support our world to evolve as well. So I really admire her, and I really look to her for mentorship, even though I've never spoken to her.
I love that. Number one, I love the fact that you said Oprah, because I love Oprah too. And I remember, rushing home and catching her talk shows. I wish that it was still on. And then the fact that you said that, you look up to her and, she's kind of like your virtual role model, because sometimes we think that role models and mentors have to be people that you can touch and physically, see in your presence and things like that. And oftentimes it can be the people through, the airwaves or on TV and things like that. So I love that.
Well, also, as you know so well, because you're such an epic author yourself, that sometimes we never even know who we mentor through the words in our pages in our books. And maybe, someone will reach out to us and tell us that we've made a difference in their life, which is incredible when that happens. But, Oprah is a prolific writer and sharing of authorship as well. And so, she's impacted me even through the words on page, like you and I have done in many ways too.
Yeah, very true. Very true. What is one lesson that you have learned in life that you wish you would have learned earlier on?
Oh, that's one lesson in life that I wish I would have learned earlier on. One of the things that I'm in a season of right now that is even hard for me to say out loud is to own my power. And I know that there are so many people out there who will likely resonate with that, because we, especially as women in this Women's History Month, we're taught to make ourselves small and to shrink our abilities, maybe not talk about our earning potential, not talk about our skills, not talk about what we do brilliantly. And as a result, we dim our light and we shrink our power in the process. We lose our voice in the process. And so this experience in personal development for me, and it's a very long story, but the short story has been a process of my own transformation to reclaim my voice and to fully step back into the light, back into my power, and own the difference that I truly can make in this world.
So staying with that a little bit, what is one way that you have worked to regain your power? And what advice can you give to our listeners who are listening today?
There are millions of ways that I've personally tried. As I've mentioned, Reiki was one of the most healing things for me. I actually became a Reiki master first to manage my own energy, to learn. I'm actually an empath, somebody who can feel and see things more deeply than other people can. And so I had to learn how to manage my own energy as an empath because I can feel so much from other people and circumstances and the news and the world. And so Reiki really first and foremost helped me to calm my own central nervous system, but it also connected me with the universe, for lack of a better way to say it, more deeply than I possibly could have imagined. And now, yes, I use it with my children. I use it when my clients are interested. I use it with them when they're open to that idea. So the energy management is one of the most incredible gifts that I've given myself in an effort to improve my energy, right down to like last night, one of my 2-year-old was coming in our room and she kept waking me up, and I did a little Reiki on myself to fall back asleep. And so it even manages just the natural physical body energy in a much better way as well.
I love that. And I'm into that too. So I'm definitely have to book a session with you.
Oh, cool. Let's go.
What would you say is the best advice you have ever received from a woman?
The best advice I have ever received from a woman. I probably won't say it perfectly like she did in the way that she did, but it was something to the tune of, you're already in the room, own your seat at the table. And, we often will find ourselves looking around and, whether it's it's imposter syndrome. Like, should I even be in this room? And then it becomes, do I deserve to be in this room? And then it becomes this new version of imposter syndrome, which is like, okay, I'm here. Am I a fraud? Are people going to find me out? Yeah. And then now I'm in this season, this new version of this same story of, I'm here, I'm in the room, I have a seat at the table, and now I need to own my power fully. And so it's been this evolution, and I see it so often with the business owners, both men and women, very frequently with female business owners, especially those that are in male-dominated industries, where they don't speak up at a meeting very simply, but also to just trust that they're in the room on purpose, that they're doing this work, and that they're worthy of their voice being heard already. And so again, it's another version of that, not dimming your light and owning your power.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So before we start talking about the book, we know that you carry many hats. So how do you balance ambition and self-care?
I'm ambitious about my self-care, it turns out.
I love that.
I tend to ditch the word balance. I have a strong resistance against it because a lot of people think of the word balance as this 50-50. When you think of balance, you think of a scale, and it has to be this perfectly lined up thing in order for it to be working properly. When really I see it more as like an infinity symbol that flows in between both of them. And it's especially true, yes, as a business owner, but also as a mother. There are times and seasons in our life where our bodies, our brains, our minds, our babies, our business, they need ambition. And there are times when all of those things need self-care. And the wisdom to go within and listen to ourselves, to our bodies, to our minds, to our spirit, to whatever else we're integrating in the moment, and learn what we need and to be ambitious about what we need. Like there's a chapter in my book where I talk about the fact that I used to think I was high maintenance, but now I just know that I am grateful that I have this village of people who take care of me. I have chiropractor and acupuncturist. I have therapists and coaches and cranial sacral therapists and Reiki masters. And there's this village of people that help to manage my body, my energy, so that I can be in service to more people. Instead of thinking of it as self-care only for self, I know with 100% certainty that it's like putting the oxygen mask on myself so that I can be more effective for the work that I do both at home and in the world.
I love that. I love that. So you alluded to the book. So tell us about your book. Tell us the title, who it's for, and what inspired you to write a book.
Yeah, it's really exciting. This week, the audiobook version comes out into the world. It's the first time that I've done an audiobook. The book is called The Integrated Entrepreneur, the one that we're referencing right now. I actually have another one that was launched earlier in the year, but this one in particular is The Integrated Entrepreneur. It's my self-published book. And this book really, it's an essence of what we've already been speaking about today. It's this idea that we're all human beings having lots of human experiences. People will be taught that they need to compartmentalize their personal life, their business life, their marriage, their parenting, their health, their wellness, their finances. They need to put it into these different compartments. And then they end up spinning too many plates and getting burnt out. And what I help people understand is that they're one human being having lots of experiences. And the idea of the integrated entrepreneur is to bring you back into focus of who you truly authentically are and to learn what are all the interruptions of that internally and externally so that you can live fully into the presentation of your business. I believe that business is a brilliantly disguised personal development plan. The more inner work we do, the more outer results that we get. And that doesn't just mean, the woo fun stuff that you and I like, the Reiki
Yeah.
and the self-care and all of that fun stuff. It's also about the strategy, the structure, the scaffolding, the KPIs, the goals, the number, the revenue. We need that too. I call that the masculine. And then we also have the feminine, that is the communication, the passion, the joy, the fun, the spontaneity, the community that needs to be balanced in integration with the entrepreneur in order to have the happiest, healthiest, wealthiest expression of their experience. And so that's what the book is about. It's very much a workbook. And so people are given concrete tools and actionable steps that they can use to build their business from wherever they are. And some people come in the beginning phases, pre-launch. Some people come at startup, and some people are many, many decades into their experience, but they might be broke millionaires, meaning they have all the money in the world, but no one to share it with because they've destroyed every relationship along the way. And so they learn these different tools in service to not just the material wealth, but also relationship wealth and health and self-love and all the things that really life is about anyway. And so I teach those tools throughout the book in combination with sharing a number of stories, some of my own stories in my own coming up as an entrepreneur, but also some stories from the clients that I've served now over the 15 years being in the business, helping them go from wherever they are coming to me from into whatever they choose in their experience.
What was the writing journey like? Because you say you was self-published. What was that like?
I actually was hybridly published with a publisher, but it's a combination deal, right? Hybrid means I published with a publisher, but there's a lot that stays in my world with royalties and with ownership of the book and whatnot. Either way, also a mom. And so and a business owner. And so it was kind of an extended process. I started writing the book actually on International Women's Day in March of 2023, I can't remember. It was, well, let me think. Callie, my baby was just born when I started officially writing the book. And so she's now almost 3. So it was almost 3 years ago that I wrote the book. And it started out in fits and starts where I would write 40 pages and then not touch it for 4 months. And then I would write, another 40 pages and not touch it for another 4 months. It wasn't until I created a writing ritual for myself, which has actually become an incredible transformation for me personally, because now I created a ritual around self-expression. And I learned that no matter what was going on in my world, at the same time, every day, I would get up, I'd get in some kind of creative vibe. So for me, it's music. I would play and listen to high vibration tones. I would sing. I would play the guitar. You can't see it. It's right over here. I would do whatever I needed to do to get into a creative zone. I would do some rituals. I have a calendar here, or excuse me, a candle here that says smells like she's writing a bestseller. And I would get in the spirit of creativity. And then I would write for an hour every single day until the book was done. And that ritual every single day, I'm talking on Christmas, every single day I would write until the book came to fruition. And that discipline of self-expression was a part of the transformation for me in the process of writing the book.
I love that. I love that. So what would you say is going on in your life right now that you did not expect to be going on in your life?
One of the coolest unintended positive consequences of becoming a best-selling author is that I am now booking main stage presentations, speeches. They're just coming all over the place. Out of nowhere. I have like 10 speaking engagements in the next few months. And I have always resisted being a speaker on stage until this year when I decided, this is a consequence, a positive consequence of writing a book. And so I just opened myself up to that possibility. And when I did, now I have a huge lineup for the entire year, the span of the entire year and beyond. And so that was a very, very unintended, unplanned, positive experience of this process.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we'll definitely have, your information on the show notes so people can, follow you, get the book and check out where you're going to be speaking. And if it's open to the public, people can go check it out.
Mm-hmm. There's actually one, and I'm not sure when the podcast will be launched, but there's actually one going to be on March 6th. It's a writers and books live question and answer session for authors. So it'll be right in Rochester. And there are others as well. There's a Chamber of Commerce. I'll be speaking on March 20th. So there's a bunch. Yeah. So look at that event page and find out where I'll be and come join me. Say hello.
Yes, definitely. So what is one change that you would like to see for women to experience over the next decade?
How much time do we have, Mary? I don't want to create a political conversation by any stretch of the imagination. What I will say is that the woman's voice and women's rights and women's acumen, I would love for it to be that we could be able to say just that person's acumen instead of like, oh, she's a female business owner. No, she's just a business owner. Like we don't have to be separate or different from other people because we are women. Like we're not lesser than. And so just to be treated equally, and I feel like we've gone backwards a little bit, especially recently. I would love for there to be more equality and equity in the way that women's voices are heard and the way that they're treated and the way that their rights are respected. And I'll leave it at that for today.
That's good. That's good. What challenges have you faced, or a challenge that you have faced that you turned into an opportunity?
Well, this thing, speaking of being fearless on Friday, that I mentioned just a moment ago is the idea that I've resisted public speaking literally for 25 years. Like, just no, I don't do that. That's not what I do. That's not how I build my business. I've always been more of a business builder, relationship building and connecting and referrals and warm introductions, that kind of thing. And so I closed myself off to speaking as a way to build my business. And so this is a huge shift for me that takes a lot of new skills and a lot of courage that I have to muster up. And I'm excited that it's going really well to get in the process of doing that.
That's awesome. And for the, individual that might be listening and they're like, how is she going to do that? Speak in front of people, especially as someone who was once afraid or blocked it off and said no. What advice would you give? And how have you been able to actually make that shift that you're now okay with saying yes?
So in an effort not to be self-serving, I did the exercises in the book.
Okay.
There are a lot of different ways that you can heal your voice. One of the things that I had to do deeply was look at closely my limiting beliefs about speaking and myself as a human being and create a new relationship with those beliefs. Then I needed to create new patterning with those beliefs, new neurons and synapses in the brain, that instead of going back to the default, simply, I don't speak on stage, I had to create a new story for myself. And then I had to create new thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that match those new beliefs. And then I was able to get the results. And to do that, I had to clear out the old patterns that no longer served me, the old stories that no longer served me, and begin to anchor and practice in new ones that I prefer instead. And so it was a work in progress. Some of it was, I'm not going to lie, it was work, right? It was not fun. It was uncomfortable. And obviously it took me a while because here I am. It took a couple decades to get on the other side of it. But there are chunks of it that have fallen away over time that were very quick. So I don't want people to think like, oh, you need 25 years of work in order to do something new. No, I mean, I'm not an overnight success. I have been working at this and I've seen success compounding slowly over many, many years in my business, starting from very early on. This a no good, very bad thing that happened to me on stage started in high school. And I've, come leaps and bounds. It's just now that I'm stepping back fully on stage, but I've done other things like podcasts and, a variety of other ways to get my voice heard, including building a business. It takes courage and trust in yourself to even build a business. And so I would just encourage people to find those tools and those skills that work well for you, and to be willing to do the work and persistently, and also trust that miracles can happen too.
I love that. Really quick, what's one of those limiting beliefs that you had to overcome?
I believed that I didn't have an original thought to share, and that no one really cared what I had to say. Mm-hmm. And I definitely had to overcome that to speak out loud, to share my story, to write a book, to hop on a podcast, to write a speech. I had to believe, instead of the limiting belief that it's all been done before and there's no newness out there, I had to own that there is literally no other Raeanne Lacatena in the world. I am literally the only one, thankfully, that exists. And so that in and of itself, my voice, my thoughts, my experience, that is the unique version. So even if I say something like some of the things that we've talked about today, you've heard of, Marianne, but I've said it out of my experience and my voice and through my tonality and with my energy and with my backpack of experience and my backpack of discontent, all in service to the listener today. And so that's what makes it unique. And that's why it's okay to speak up, move on.
And I love that because, we're talking about, shifting our mindset and limiting beliefs and things like that. And that's actually, my recent book also, From Limitation to Liberation, 50 Mindset Shifts for the Women Who Dares, which is all about overcoming your mindset and shifting, those limiting beliefs that we have. So the next question that I have for you is, which we kind of already, have heard, how exactly are you using your voice to empower other women?
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely, yes, the book is a version of my voice, especially with the audiobook coming out. I didn't realize that it's an entire skill set to be able to be a voiceover actress or actor, to share your story through audiobook. But frankly, just even the words on the pages are a way that I'm sharing my voice. The speaking engagements, the podcasts, and also I'm singing more, right? Like I'll drop a well-placed lyric on a call. They'll get a birthday song. I'll sing a little, which is my, is one of my true loves is being able to sing. And so I'm not hiding even my singing voice anymore with a client, definitely not with the babies. So I'm just speaking up and singing more loudly now.
Yeah, because definitely your voice has power.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what is a misconception about women that you wish would disappear?
A misconception about women that I wish could disappear. The weakness story, I wish that one would disappear. Not to overstate this, but I birthed 3 babies, right?
Yeah.
And I did so with no pain meds. And that is powerful stuff.
Yes. Yes.
For anyone who has or hasn't, they would more than likely, well, those that have would likely agree. I believe that women are incredibly powerful. I think that femininity is leadership. It's inspiring. It's powerful. It's what moves energy. It's what moves the world. And so I would prefer for that, weaker than story to be abolished.
That's a good one. That's a good one. How do you celebrate your own achievements, whether big or small?
The small ones are usually a song and a dance party, usually with the kids, or, like a really nice meal. Big ones, I am a big traveler. And so whether I'm celebrating or not, I'm booking travel around the world because I think it's important for me and my kids to see the world and new experiences. I also love to take my clients places, go on in-person retreats with them around the world. But most of the time, my favorite ways to celebrate are with newness, letting myself have the sensation to be in a new adventure or a new experience.
I love that. What's your favorite place to go?
Hawaii.
Oh, have not been there yet.
Oh, well, Expedia, something. Book the flights. Literally, Raeanne, I have a mouse pad that is a Hawaiian scene. Like I am
Oh,
obsessed
wow.
with Hawaii. It is a beautiful, epic place to be. We had our honeymoon there.
Do you have a favorite island?
They're all so different, but if I could live somewhere, I would live in Maui.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to have to check that out. So you are on the Fearless Fridays podcast. How are you living a fearless life?
I am doing this one thing that I encourage my true entrepreneurs to do, which is to say, okay, here we are. What's next? Instead of getting stuck in the pattern of fear, doubt, worry, or finding an obstacle or a challenge or seeing their goal and not knowing how to get there, true entrepreneurs are really good at saying, here are the circumstances that we're in. Let's figure it out. And that is really, I think, a fearless, resilient, persistent way of living. And I'm proud to say that is something that I live in full integrity around now, for sure.
Yeah. What would you say is a social media trend that you would like to see go away?
A social media trend. Well, there's half of my brain that is never going to dance on social media in front of a reel for my business. Although I would be lying if I was not semi-entertained by it. So I appreciate those that dance and sing to build their business, but I probably will not be one of them.
And where can our audience, our listeners connect with you and learn more about you and support you, get the copy of the book and see where you're going to be speaking at?
Well, the book and the audiobook are on Audible, Amazon, any major outlet. You can reach the book there. My business is called The Integrated Entrepreneur as well as the name of the book. And so I'm at theintegratederentrepreneur.com. And I'm on all social media outlets. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn is my primary platform, all at Raeanne Lacatena.
I love that. And my last question for you is, what advice would you like to give the next generation of women?
You are worthy. Whatever you believe you are here to do, you're on your purpose. Don't worry about where the next destination is. Just trust that you're on your journey and on your purpose now and that you are worthy by virtue of your humanness. So don't doubt yourself. Just believe in yourself and know that you're here for good reason and that you'll know what that is eventually. So don't sweat it in the process of learning what your purpose is. Just enjoy your life and yourself and your humanness. And keep on moving forward because the world so desperately needs you.
I love that. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please leave us a 5-star review and share with a friend or two. If you aren't already following us on social media, please connect with me on LinkedIn at Raeanne Rivera Dannert or visit our website, MaryAnneRiveraDannert.com. I will catch you next week with a brand new episode. And remember that you are a priority and you matter.